Arsenal have a new wide forward on their radar, Crystal Palace's Eberechi Eze, as Mikel Arteta looks to add a maverick profile. Today we've got a special interview alongside the reliable Ben Jacobs to break down the rumours behind Šeško and Gyökeres, find out what's happening with a brand new defender, as well as a massive update on Eberechi Eze. We'll also discuss a surprise potential target. Yo, what is going on, guys? My name is Bass14. Welcome back to your boys channel, and I hope you guys are doing sensationally. With all the breaking news about Eberechi Eze, we have got Mr. Ben Jacobs to give us the entire breakdown. So as per my friend, smash a like on this video if you do enjoy it, and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Helping your boy as road to 300,000 subscribers. We're getting straight into the Ben Jacobs interview. So guys, joined by Mr. Ben Jacobs himself, live and direct, obviously right now in America for the Club World Cup. Ben, how are you doing?
Very good. I've just got back from Universal Studios, where I went on a ridiculous roller coaster with 3 upside down loops. So if halfway through I throw up, then you know exactly why. I'm still feeling a little bit dizzy from it, but otherwise all good.
But Ben, we are here for the Arsenal transfer news. Of course, you are the guy for transfer news right now, smashing it on all social medias. And my question to you, the first one, of course, every Arsenal fan right now focuses on a striker, Benjamin Šeško, Viktor Gyökeres.
Well, the latest with both is that they'd like to join Arsenal, and it really is as simple as that. Now you have to get club-to-club agreements, and Andrea Berta is a bit different to Edu. Edu perhaps would have picked a clear direction of travel, gone with it quite meticulously. Berta's the guy that lays out several outfits before he goes to a party, tries them all on, and then at the last minute surprises everyone with what he's walking out the door in. And this is why advanced talks for Šeško and Gyökeres are going on simultaneously. And part of that is because my understanding is that Arsenal want either Šeško or Gyökeres for 70 million. Sporting are being difficult on the price for Gyökeres, even though there's this pact in place. And with Šeško, there's a variable release clause which is set at 80 million euros. So it's kind of about leveraging both of them against each other in order to get that 70 million price. We're speaking in euros. And then from there, if Arsenal get the right price, they know personal terms with both players will not be a problem. Gyökeres is a bit more expensive in terms of wage and agent fees. I was told a few days ago that Arsenal are leaning in the direction of Šeško, but they feel that both players actually would be very good fits. It's likely to be one, not both. So they're in a strong position. I know a lot of Arsenal fans will be looking at what Liverpool are doing, City during the Club World Cup, Chelsea in the last few days, but Arsenal's window is really going to start on July the 1st. And I tell you something, by the end of the window, I don't think Arsenal's spend will be that different to Liverpool's. It's just that Liverpool closed their financial year on May the 31st. And that means that everything that they're doing in June is on the next financial year, which is why they can move very early. Most other clubs are shutting their financial year at the end of June, and as a consequence you have to wait until July to really get going, and that's why it may seem slow from an Arsenal fan perspective, but judge it at the end of the window, because I don't think Liverpool's volume of business and Arsenal's volume of business will be that different.
We talked about Šeško and Gyökeres, 2 names every Arsenal fan's talking about. Is there maybe another striker, we've heard recent reports about Hugo Ekitike, that Arsenal might like if either deals they can't find the right price on?
Yeah, I think Ollie Watkins is still there as well and is under some formative consideration from Manchester United. Berta, though, is not afraid to just buy established and short-termist. You could argue that Norgard is a good example of that. I think with Hugo Ekitike, caution is needed. Arsenal appreciate the player. We know Alexander Isak, by the way, is a dream target as well, but it's just so difficult to do a deal with Newcastle. But if that door opened to Liverpool, then of course you'd expect Arsenal to also be there. Arsenal still see Isak as a dream target as well. So there's other striker options, but the reason I say caution with Ekitike is because one week it's Chelsea, the next week it's Man United, now it's Arsenal. And right now we're getting Frankfurt manufacturing this Premier League bidding war for Ekitike because they want their 100 million. And the smart clubs that may consider Ekitike further down the line, they're biding their time because they realise that Ekitike is not going to be 100 million euros by mid-July or early August. So it could be one to watch. But to be honest with you, I'd be surprised if Arsenal don't sign one of Gyökeres or Šeško, because now for both, a lot of work has been done.
Let's move on more to defenders. Obviously, recently, Christian Mosquera has come out of nowhere.
Yeah, the player wants to join, simple as that. And I expect this deal to get done. So that would be 3 through the door, and Arsenal will be very pleased with that. For Arsenal, it's been about finding somebody, unlike, for example, Mark Gahey, who they looked at, that is a younger profile and prepared to wait a little bit, because it's obvious that if William Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes are fit, then they're covering those positions. So this is a profile Arsenal like, because they feel that he'll be patient, he's quite versatile, he's excellent at winning duels, he's intelligent at how he reads the game, and he covers other positions where he doesn't traditionally play. So if you watch him off the ball, when others are in possession, as players are moving forwards into advanced positions, if he's on the ball, he's a progressive passer. If he's off it, he's very alert to the line in case there's a counter-attack to make sure that you can step out if needed. And he's very alert to moving cleverly into space so he can get to the ball quickly. And that's kind of a quality we associate more with a number 6. You think Moises Caicedo at Chelsea. So he's actually got some sort of defensive midfield qualities about him, even though he's a defender. And the situation with the deal is that expectation Arsenal's end is they can get it done for about 20 million euros, but at the moment they're being quoted a slightly higher number. That 20 million euros, Arsenal feel, will be inclusive of add-ons. They're not that far apart, and my expectation is still that this deal will get done imminently.
Is there still a possibility that Arsenal go on the market for a left back as well? Because you're losing players there, a bit lightweight. We've heard the names of Jorel Hato and other profiles as well.
Yeah, Arsenal like Jorel Hato, and as you say, if Kiani and Zinchenko both depart, then maybe you're a little bit thin there. The priority will obviously be left winger, centre forward, number 2 goalkeeper, and then I think from Arsenal's point of view, you're pretty happy with the window, and then you can finesse and say, do we need another left back? And you're absolutely right in what you say about Jorel Hato. That kind of profile is very valued by Mikel Arteta. He likes players that can play in 2 different positions, and Hato being a left back and a left centre back could get him a fair amount of game time. I don't sense at the moment it's as urgent as some of the other positions that we've discussed. It will be someone in that Hato mould, left back, centre back. They were looking at out and out left backs such as Milos Kerkez, but they chose not to enter that race, even though in January they were relatively keen. But what I do know is if they strengthen in that direction, it will be a player under the age of 22.
Left wing. In the last few days, a lot of reports are coming about Eberechi Eze. What is happening with Eze? I think you've reported that Arsenal have interest.
I think this is advancing. The offer part isn't that hard because you're either going to match the release clause or somewhere close, or you're going to trigger it. And the beauty is a bit like Mateus Cunha's one. You can pay it, I believe, in 3 installments. If you're going to do this deal, it's not actually that costly on the books. It's a complicated release clause that the player has to trigger. I know that may sound obvious, but like with Michael Olise, you have to express your interest directly through the front door to Crystal Palace. They then let the player know. He decides who he wants to speak to. He tells Crystal Palace, give permission to this club. And then from there, you trigger a clause, which if it's exactly like Elise's, will have different percentages going to Palace, ex-clubs potentially, and even the player himself who kind of gets a commission. So Arsenal are obviously shortlisting and determining what kind of left winger they're looking for. And if, as you say, and there's a few names I'm hearing on the list, Eberechi Eze added to the list, and now I think things are moving a bit further than just added, because there was a meeting over the weekend with some very senior Arsenal football and recruitment staff speaking to the Eze camp, and Eze, I'm told, is keen on the move. So if Arsenal were to choose to proceed, I don't think there would be any competition. I think Eberechi Eze would be an Arsenal player. So it's kind of all on Arsenal now at this point, and they're starting to work out, is this value for money, and is he exactly the kind of profile, knowing that he likes to get more central. So you got Eze, and we can certainly say it's advancing. Let's see in the next few days or weeks if they make an offer. From Tottenham's point of view, I am told that their focus is on Mohamed Kudus at the moment. Got a fair amount of backlash from the Spurs community when I said they were interested, and then they've pulled out for now. Tottenham are thinking Kudus might be available for about £60 million, even though he's got an 85 million release clause. And that's relatively appealing for them because they really want like a central attacking midfielder. If he can go wide, it's a bonus. Whereas I think Arsenal's perspective is start wide, and if he can go central, it's a bonus. Then you've got Rodrigo, another one that I broke a few weeks ago. Bit of a dream target. Thing about Rodrigo, which is quite odd, Real are actually willing to sell. They know the player doesn't want to play on the right-hand side. On the left-hand side, you've got Vinny Jr. and Kylian Mbappe. So Real will sell at the right price, but it's a high fee, about 90 million euros. Then you have the player who, despite the fact he knows the club would be willing to sell, is actually thinking, maybe I need to speak more to Xabi Alonso, see how the Club World Cup goes. Can I change a new manager's mind? So I would say it was more certain Rodrigo would be pushing, even agitating to leave Real Madrid under Carlo Ancelotti. But right now it's a fresh slate. And if Arsenal are to move, they may have to be patient, or they just might be put off by the price. So Rodrigo, like Alexander Isak, bit of a dream target, but slightly more feasible than Isak. Eze is actually moving in the sense there were practical meetings. There's appreciation for Anthony Gordon as well on that left-hand side. And then I know we hear reports of Noni Madueke, and what I can tell you is that Arsenal are also pretty serious about Noni Madueke. A lot will depend on Chelsea, but remember, Madueke is a right winger, so he can be used on the left, but he's not going to want to join Arsenal as a left winger. So if anything moves with Madueke, it's going to be because Arsenal feel they want Saka cover and competition, not because they're thinking he can switch sides and somehow be converted to the left-hand side.
I've always wondered if Arsenal were going to go for the 2 forwards, the left wing and the striker as a priority, but maybe have that third one in mind as well as that extra cover with no risk to take next season. You know, if you're going to go for a title, is it feasible that Arsenal could go for 3 attackers in this window?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, definitely number 9, definitely a left winger. And from what I hear, even though Chelsea's perspective is they don't really want to settle, the Madueke and Arsenal links have substance. Enzo Maresca really likes the profile of Noni Madueke, but where there's a window of opportunity, whether for Arsenal or another club, Chelsea have got Esteval Willian coming in. Pedro Neto prefers to play on the right-hand side. They've just signed Jamie Gittins on the left. They've got Giovanni Quenda coming in next year. Tyreek George is still at the football club. So Noni Madueke, and this is the point from Arsenal's perspective, could fall down the Chelsea pecking order, even though he's really liked at the moment. So if Arsenal do want Noni Madueke, and I do think there is some substance to the links, then Chelsea's not for sale stance, or he's part of our plans for next season, that could definitely change at some point. And if Arsenal bide their time and are opportunistic, absolutely, I can see right-sided competition for Saka, a starting left winger, which calls into question, I think, the future of Gabriel Martinelli, even though Arsenal's position is he's not for sale. And then, of course, a number 9. And I come back to what I said before. When you spell it all out with Norgard, Zubimendi, maybe a left-back, centre-back, Mascara that they're very positive about, Kepa coming in for 5 million. When you add all of the business up and the projections, because they're not going to leave this window without a number 9, and they're not going to leave this window without a left winger. Come the end of the window, Arsenal's total spend, Liverpool's total spend will not, in my opinion, be too far off.
Is there one player that the Arsenal fan base isn't focused on right now? Because you know how Arsenal fans work. Whenever links come out, that's the player they want.
Yeah, I mean, there's not necessarily one there because the targets are quite crystallised. Obviously, if they can't get that 70 million for Gyökeres or Šeško, the striker search becomes quite interesting. And let's see if they pivot back to Ollie Watkins or go elsewhere. Noni Madueke is the one that I really think could move later in the window. And if he genuinely becomes available at a decent price that maybe in Chelsea's eyes is 40-45 million, there could be a possibility there. And Arsenal have got a really good relationship with Chelsea. I know there's the rivalry on the field, but there's nothing stopping, as showed with Havertz and Sterling, these clubs doing business with each other. There's an outside chance, depending on what the final price is. And this is a little bit more left field because he is a central attacking midfielder and really the priority is to find width. But Xavi Simons is one that Arsenal really like. We know Tottenham have looked as well, and the player's very keen on a move to the Premier League. The challenge is that it was a complicated deal that saw him go to Leipzig. So the total outlay, including add-ons, was 80 million euros. And I'm told that the guaranteed part was 50. But if he leaves so soon, then a lot of those add-ons won't have been paid. And the backstory here is that PSG loaned right up until a clause expired 18 months after they signed him from PSV. And there was a clause in the first 18 months that said, if you sell him on, 100% of the transfer fee goes to PSV, not PSG. And this is why we saw the loan and no clarity over his future before the final sale. So Leipzig are thinking, if we sell now, we can not only have had the player for the length of time we've had permanently and on loan, but we can maybe make a bit of profit on that 50 plus 30 deal. And this is the key question that all suitors are trying to understand. What will it actually cost? Because it'll be more than 50 million euros because they're obviously going to want to make a profit on the guaranteed fee paid. But if a large proportion, because he hasn't been there long, of those 30 million in add-ons have not been paid, then even though people are presuming this is an 80 million euros deal, too expensive for Arsenal, for Spurs, for Chelsea, etc., if that price drops to maybe only 60 million euros, there's a window of opportunity. And I would keep a small eye on Arsenal, but I certainly don't want to be misquoted here or get anyone overexcited needlessly. The key thing is to find width. Now, Simons can go left, right, and centre, but he's not the same kind of player as Rodrigo or even Kudos, and certainly not Noni Madueke. And I still think that like winger forward blur, somebody that can go wide but can burst in and have offensive output, is maybe more important to Arsenal than finding like an advanced eight and an out defined attacking midfielder.
Well, Ben, informative as always. Always a pleasure to have you on my channel. If we speak again this summer, then Arsenal have got a striker in and fans can relax. It's a pleasure to have you on my channel.
No, it's a pleasure coming on. Keep up the good work and thanks for having me.
That is the video there and there, so hopefully you guys have enjoyed. If you have, don't forget to smash a like and also subscribe to the channel if you are new. A massive shout out to Ben Jacobs for coming on your boy's channel. All his links are down below in the description. But that was all of your latest Arsenal transfer news today. After a special interview, the name of Eberechi Eze has entered the frame, and now we'll see, for a man who used to dream of playing for Arsenal, will his dream come true? My friends, I'll see you next time. Take care of yourselves and in a bit.